Hey, welcome back. Today we are diving deep into one of the most mysterious and, let's be honest, debated figures in the entire Bible, Mystery Babylon. We're going to walk through a really fascinating interpretation that connects an ancient king to modern traditions and even a prophesied global collapse. So let's get right into it.
So right there in the book of Revelation, you have this vivid picture of a title written on a woman's forehead. Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. So what on earth is this? The commentary we're exploring today argues it's not just a city. It's actually a powerful system that's thousands of years old. And to understand its future, we've got to go way, way back into the past. All right, so to really start to unravel this prophecy, the commentary we're looking at takes us right back to the very beginning. I'm talking about the founding of an ancient city and its very defiant king. Okay, so the commentary's starting point is this figure from Genesis, Nimrod. He's described as the world's very first dictator and, you guessed it, the founder of the original Babylon. But here's the crucial part. His name is said to mean, "we will rebel." And the source presents this specific act of defiance as the seed for a system that has just echoed through history ever since.
But here's the thing, this ancient rebellious system, it didn't just disappear. The commentary we're examining makes a pretty bold claim that its symbols and its practices are actually hiding in plain sight, embedded in traditions many of us celebrate every single year. Take the Yule log, for example. This commentary traces it all the way back to a pagan ritual that marked the death of the sun god at the winter solstice. It even points out that Yule was the Chaldean word for infant, the language of ancient Babylonia, tying it directly to a birth or a rebirth cycle.
And the ritual didn't stop there. The commentary claims that the morning after they burned that log, a trimmed tree would be put right in its place, symbolizing the rebirth or the resurrection of that very same sun god.
Now, this argument goes way beyond just winter traditions. This commentary connects the Easter bunny and eggs directly to ancient pagan fertility rites for the goddess Ishtar or Astarte. I mean, the egg and the famously prolific rabbit are presented as powerful symbols of new life, central to springtime fertility festivals.
So you might be wondering, how did this system allegedly survive for thousands of years? Well, the source puts forward this idea of a priestly migration. It all starts in Babylon. Then, after the city falls, the system moves over to Pergamus. And finally, it settles in Rome, where these ancient Babylonian practices were kind of repackaged, first with Latin and then later with Christian-sounding names and rituals.
Okay, so this brings us to a really key tool that the source material uses to interpret all this. It views the book of Revelation as a study of two very different contrasting women. One in chapter 12, and the other, our mystery figure, in chapter 17. And the contrast they present is, well, it's stark. On one side, you've got the woman of chapter 12, who the source identifies as Israel. She's clothed with the sun and hated by the world. But on the other side, you have the woman of chapter 17. She's clothed in purple, called the mother of harlots, and is embraced by the world. One is described as a widow, while the other proudly boasts, "I am no widow." The commentary argues this is a deliberate, direct opposition. So with that contrast clearly established, the source starts laying out a series of clues from the text to really build its case for identifying this great harlot. So, what are the clues? The source lays out 10 of them. She's described as unfaithful, but has universal influence. She steers a political system called the Beast. She's decked out in purple and gold, and she holds a golden cup. She's linked directly to ancient Babylon and is called the mother of false systems, who is, and this is a big one, drunk with the blood of the saints. And finally, 2 key geographic clues. She is a city built on 7 hills, and she was the great city ruling the world when the text was first written. Now, to understand that political beast that she's writing, the commentary interprets its 7 heads as a succession of world empires that have opposed God's people. As you can see here, it lists them as Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Greece, and finally Rome, which it suggests has 2 phases, an ancient one and a revived one that is still to come. But this system doesn't last forever. The prophecy then pivots to the dramatic and very sudden downfall of this power, which is described as a fiery judgment. The global impact of this collapse is shown by the 3 groups who mourn its fall: the world's kings who were allied with her, the global merchants who got rich from her, and the sea traders who profited from her commerce. I mean, this paints a really clear picture of a vast, interconnected economic and political powerhouse. And what's really striking is the speed of this collapse.
The text actually repeats that her judgment comes in 1 hour, which really emphasizes that this is a sudden, catastrophic event, not some slow, gradual decline. This brings us to the commentary's central thesis about this system's ultimate fate. It states, and I quote, "I believe the power system that migrated to Rome is destined to be brought back to Babylon where it all started in order to receive the judgment that God has reserved for her." In other words, for the prophecy to be fulfilled, the system has to physically return to where it all began. And this brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought from this source material. The commentator proposes what they call a litmus test, a future observable event that would either validate or, well, challenge this entire interpretation. And that test is a single observable event, the rebuilding of a literal physical city of Babylon in its ancient location. According to this view, the rise of a great modern city on the Euphrates River would be the final sign, the signal that this ancient system has finally returned home to face its judgment. It's a provocative theory for sure, and definitely a fascinating lens through which to view the future.